Your coworker bought a Tesla last month. Black. Long range. He financed it over 72 months. He's told you about it 4 times this week. Monday in the elevator, Tuesday at the coffee machine, Wednesday in the meeting that ran long. Thursday, he showed you a photo of it parked outside a restaurant. You said, "Nice," both times. All 4 times. Then you walked back to your desk, the one with the chipped corner, the one nobody walks past twice. You've had that desk for 6 years, same title on your badge, same floor, same view of the parking garage where, in spot 47, your 2011 Honda Civic sits with 140,000 miles on it. The AC works. That's all you need it to do.
People have been forming opinions about you for years. Your aunt thinks you're going through something, a phase maybe, something you haven't told the family about. Your college roommate stopped inviting you to group trips 3 years ago. In his words, and you heard this secondhand from a mutual friend, he probably can't afford it. The trip was to Lisbon, 14 days. It cost around $4,800 per person. You could have paid for 2 seats. Your neighbor, the one with the boat he uses maybe twice a summer, once told his wife, "You seem like a guy who never quite figured it out." He said it at a barbecue. You were standing close enough to hear it over the music. You finished your burger. You got a second one. You said nothing. Here is what your neighbor doesn't know. Here is what your aunt doesn't know. Here is what your college roommate, currently paying off a $340,000 mortgage on a house he bought at the peak of 2021, definitely doesn't know. Your brokerage account has $2.3 million in it. Liquid, investable, index funds, a few individual positions, and a cash buffer that would cover 3 years of your expenses without touching a single share. You are 41 years old. You started with $4,200. That was 2006. A data entry job in Cincinnati. $31,000 a year. You shared an apartment with 2 other people, paid $480 a month for your room, and ate a lot of rice and frozen vegetables that first year. Nobody was watching. Nobody was impressed. There was nothing to be impressed by. You opened a Roth IRA that October, put in $350 a month. Your friends were buying flat-screen TVs that year, the first generation of them, the ones that cost $1,800 and developed dead pixels within 3 years. You walked past the store. You went home. You increased your IRA contribution to $375. Nobody celebrated that. There was no moment. There was just a number on a screen that was slightly larger than the week before. That's the part they skip in every wealth story. The years when you're doing everything correctly and it looks from the outside like you're doing absolutely nothing. 2007. Portfolio at $18,000. You got a small raise, took home an extra $190 a month, and put $150 of it straight into the account. You bought new shoes that month too, $38, from a clearance rack. Then 2008 came. The S&P 500 dropped 38.5% that year. Your portfolio, which had just crossed $40,000, fell to $26,000 in 7 months. You watched $14,000 disappear on paper. That's not a small number when you're 23, and you earned it $350 at a time. Your coworkers were talking every morning about pulling out, moving everything to cash, waiting for the bottom. One of them did exactly that in November 2008. He missed the entire recovery. He came back into the market in 2010 after it had already climbed 60% from the low. You bought more in October 2008, $500 that month instead of $350. You had to skip the Vegas trip your work friends were planning. They called you boring. You let them call you boring. You bought more in November, more in December. By April 2009, the market had started climbing. You didn't know it was the bottom when you were buying. Nobody did. You just kept going because stopping felt like the wrong move. That's all discipline is sometimes. Continuing when you don't know if continuing is right. 2010. Portfolio crosses $80,000. You tell no one. 2011. You buy the Honda Civic, used, 2008 model, 60,000 miles, $9,400 cash. The dealer kept asking if you wanted to finance it. You said no 4 times. 2012. Portfolio at $200,000. Your mom calls that spring and asks if you need help with rent. She has $8,000 saved and wants to offer half. You tell her you're fine. You thank her. You don't explain. That was one of the harder conversations. Not because she was wrong to ask, because she was genuinely worried. And you were genuinely okay. And no explanation exists that closes that gap without sounding like a lie or a brag. So you said nothing. You made a mental note to be more present at family dinners. You showed up the next Sunday with groceries. That's what you could give her that felt honest. 2015. You read John Bogle's The Little Book of Common Sense Investing. You bought it used for $4 from a secondhand bookstore on a Tuesday afternoon. That book rewired something. Not because it told you anything you didn't already sense, but because it confirmed, with data going back to 1928, that what you were doing was right, and that most of the noise around you was just noise. You kept the book. The spine is cracked now. There are notes in the margins in 3 different pen colors from 3 different readings. 2016. Portfolio at $600,000. You're 32. Same Civic, same desk at work. Your company does a team lunch to celebrate a project completion, and your manager makes a toast about everyone's hard work. He doesn't say your name specifically. You eat your pasta. You drive home in the Civic. Your neighbor buys his second boat that summer. He financed it over 60 months. He invites you to see it in the driveway. You go. You say, "That's a nice boat," because it is a nice boat. Then you go home and max out your 401k, $18,000, same as every year since 2009. March 2020, you're working from home. The world has just locked down. The S&P 500 falls 34% in 23 trading days. That's the fastest crash in American market history. Your portfolio drops from $1.4 million to just under $940,000 in less than a month. You lose, on paper, more money in 4 weeks than most people earn in a decade. You make tea. You sit back down. You buy $2,000 extra that month. You had the cash because you'd been keeping a 3-year expense buffer since 2015. The year you read Bogle. The year the noise stopped mattering. By December 2020, your portfolio had recovered. Then passed where it was before the crash. Then kept going. You told nobody about the crash. You told nobody about the recovery. Work Zoom calls continued. You talked about project timelines. You asked how people were doing. You meant it. 2022. Rates rise. Market drops again. Your portfolio falls from $1.9 million to $1.4 million over the year. You buy every month, same as always. 2023. It comes back. 2024. It keeps going. Now it's this year. $2.3 million. Your salary is $74,000. You max your 401k and Roth IRA. Your rent is $1,340. You have no debt. Your car is paid off. Your grocery bill averages $310 a month. Your monthly spending, including everything, is around $3,100. Your portfolio generates, on average and over time, more than that every single month just in market returns. You passed the point of financial independence 6 years ago. You still go to work. Not because you have to, because you like the problem solving, because you like your team mostly. Because the alternative, sitting at home with no reason to be anywhere at any particular time, you tested it once during a 2-week vacation and found it lonely by day 4. People ask sometimes why you seem so calm, why nothing rattles you, why you never look stressed about money the way everyone else looks stressed about money. You give them a version of, "I just don't think about it much." That's not entirely honest. You think about it. You thought about it in 2008, when the number dropped by 1/3. In 2020, when it fell 34% in less than a month. Every time you said no to something that cost real money and you actually wanted to do it.